welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm gonna show you the best characters for GBR Galactus. Now the title says top 10, but actually it will be a top 9 video. The reason for that is currently the 10th best character from my Galactus tier list is Mystique, and she actually wouldn't be getting into the top 10 if I had the appropriate gear, which is almost exclusively rage on all of them, on all of the characters. So I didn't really want to show Mystique in this video because there's a fair bit of difference between her and the number 9. The characters that I don't have the appropriate gear on are 1. Silver Surfer. He currently has CTPD on. I know, don't kill me. I had that on him from before his uniform, just didn't replace it yet. But even with that, he actually clears Galactus in around 3 minutes, which is huge. Now that means I can almost guarantee that he would be in the top 10, if not top 5, with Rage. I think he could easily actually do it in around 2-minute mark, if not faster. Number 2, Quicksilver. Currently my QS has a nice hybrid obelisk, which I don't really want to touch, to be honest. With Rage, he probably could solo clear Galactus with my cards and maxed out build, obviously, in, I would say, around the 2-minute mark. The other two mentions I want to talk about are Scarlet Witch and Jean Grey, but the thing is, let's be honest, those two are not really a top 10 material, even though they're pretty goddamn good. They're not that far off, but I don't think they would get into the top 10. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be able to clear Galactus faster than even Cable. So essentially, Silver Surfer and Quicksilver, if I had Rage on them, would most definitely be in the top 10. If you follow my channel, you already know about my GBR Galactus tier list, and you have probably seen most of the runs that I'll be showing here. Most of those are already on the channel. If you don't really want to rewatch those, you can just go ahead and watch only the Sharon, the Professor X, and the Cable run. Those are the only new improved runs. So without further ado, let's jump into action. At number not 10 but 9, we have Cable. I absolutely love this guy, especially against GBR, specifically Galactus. He's one of the 2 characters that use CTPE against him and are still in the top 10. What I like the most about Cable is the fact that he constantly deals damage. I think there is somewhere around a second actually in his whole rotation where he doesn't deal any damage. So the rotation is pretty simple. You start with 4 skill, delayed cancel when you see the clones, into 3, cancel into 2, cancel into 5. When there is 1 second for your 5th skill to come off cooldown, you start your next rotation again with 4 delayed cancel, 3 cancel into 2, cancel into 5. This rotation is a bit too tight, so what you can do to make sure that you don't lose the proc is, instead of waiting until there is 1 second for your 5th skill to come off cooldown, you just cancel the 5th skill when there's 2 seconds for the 5th skill to come off cooldown. You can do that simply by moving with the joystick. Also, one tip, what you can do specifically against Galactus is sometimes you can just skip his 3rd skill. You use his 3rd skill mainly for accumulation, so you have to watch what kind of move Galactus is doing, if he's gonna actually hit you. So if he doesn't hit you, there's no reason to use your third skill, so you can just skip it. You can do 4 delayed cancel into 2, cancel into 5. As you can see, the guy is an absolute machine. And just like that, in 2 minutes 10 seconds. And at number 8 we have Captain Marvel. One thing I need to point out here is that she actually has 8 audience blessings on her. So this is kind of huge. If you were to compare her to, let's say, Cable that we just saw, it will make a big difference. A lot of people don't like playing her, and I think this is mainly based on the fact that a lot of people don't have rage on her. She's one of those characters that actually absolutely require rage to be good in pretty much any PvE content. The rotation I'm using here is I guess a bit complex, but it's just the ABX rotation. You start with 5th skill, you delayed cancel it into the 2nd skill, delayed cancel it when you see that she's going down, into 4, let it run, into 1, cancel into 2, delayed cancel when she's going down, into 3, again into 2, delayed cancel when she's going down, into 4, and so on and so forth. Now you're gonna do your tier 3 skill when there is around 3 seconds for your 5th skill to come off cooldown. But one thing to point out actually is that her tier 3 skill does not deal that much damage. So if for some reason, mainly due to the switching of phases of Galactus, your 5th skill comes off cooldown and you still have your tier 3 skill, you can just skip it and continue with the regular rotation. As you can see, she's pretty strong. And she clears it in 2 minutes 5 seconds. Next, at number 7 we have Namor. I want to point out 2 things here. Again, he has 2 audience blessings on him. Keep that in mind, and you can actually see the builds of the characters in the GBR Galactus chart or tier list or whatever you want to call it, which is always linked in the description. Second thing is the difference between the energy attack and the physical attack I have from cards. There is roughly 6% of difference in favor of energy attack. Keep that in mind when comparing characters, basically. Now back to Namor. Like Captain Marvel, Namor actually also gets a huge boost from CTP of Rage, and that is mainly because of his weird and janky rotation. So his rotation is, there are a couple of points. A lot of his skills are cancelable, namely his 4th skill you can cancel immediately. His 5th skill you can cancel when he starts swinging the trident. His tier 3 skill you should cancel when he hits the trident to the ground. You want to let the second skill and the third skill to run its course. You can delay it, cancel the first skill when he hits the ground with a trident. So the main point of his rotation is actually you want to keep the fourth, the fifth, and the tier 3 skill in the proc. This is pretty much the most important part of how you play him. I love playing him. He's so tanky, even though he doesn't have invincibility or immunity to all damage besides his tier 3 skill. One thing I hate about him, not specifically for GBR Galactus, but in general, is that all the visual noise from his skills, it just makes things very hard to see. And just like that, he finishes in 1 minute 58 seconds. Next, at number 6, we have one of my favorites, Black Widow. Sadly, I don't have a rage on her anymore, and I actually miss playing her against Galactus. I want to point out that she has no OBs whatsoever. What I like about her is the fact that her rotation requires more, in a sense, interaction. You need to make on-the-fly adjustments and changes to her rotation depending on how your proc is lining. I love those type of characters, but indubitably they are harder to play. Specifically, playing Black Widow with a regular proc is nightmarish. Couple of key points. The most damaging part of her skill set is the lightning damage that drops right after her 5th skill, so you definitely want that in the proc. Other than that, 4 and 5 deal good damage. Her tier 3 skill does not deal that much damage, but it gives her accumulation, so you want that up for as long and as often as possible. I see a lot of people making the mistake of just skipping her second and first skill altogether because they don't deal that much damage. I call those skills spam skills. You want to use them as much as possible off proc so your tier 3 charges faster, so you can use it more often. Remember, hers has accumulation, so doing that indirectly will greatly boost your damage since you will have the accumulation on more often, right? Make sure her third skill is active at all times for the buffs. You can cancel it. Also, her tier 3 skill can be and should be cancelled. Cancel it after around 2 seconds right before she jumps back. Don't let her jump back or she goes too far away and you won't be able to cancel it with another skill. So the rotation is 3 cancel 5, let it run, into 4, let it run. Don't forget to spam 2 and 1. And when the tier 3 is ready, make sure the first part of it is in the proc. And she clears it in 1 minute 59 seconds. Next, at number 5, yet again one of my favorites, Professor X. Again, I want to point out the OBs. He has 11 of those. In terms of comparison with the rest of the characters that you will see, this makes a huge difference. I just want you to keep that in mind. That being said, I love playing with this guy. His skill animations look absolutely gorgeous. Not only everything looks good, but also he's super strong. A lot of his skills are cancelable. You want to cancel his tier 3 skill, you can cancel it right after the globe appears, which is usually in a second or even less depending on your attack speed. You want to cancel his 5th skill, 4th skill and 2nd skill too. His first skill has super short animations, you want to just let it run. And another skill you don't want to cancel is the 3rd skill. The most important part of his rotation is to cram all of those skills in the proc, which is actually possible since most of them are cancelable. You start with 5, cancel into 4, cancel into 2, cancel into 1, into 3. Now make sure that you stay close to the boss, in this instance to Galactus, for the AoE damage of the 5th skill. After you do that rotation, then you will kind of spam 2 and 1 since they have a shorter cooldown, and just rinse and repeat until the tier 3 is charged. You can start his tier 3 skill whenever, to be honest, since it has a real long animation. His cooldown on 5 and 4 is a bit too long. Usually the prog would be slipping away from you in a sense after a couple of rotations, but the good thing is, since Galactus has those phases where he moves from one place to another and you can't do anything during those, that kinda resets the proc, which is actually very good for him. And he clears it in 1 minute 56 seconds. Next, at number 4, we have Starlord. I want to apologize to you guys that I actually somehow lost the video of the run with his best clear time, but I actually have a screenshot of it right from the end of the run. So what I'm gonna do now is I will show you his current stats that I did the faster clear with, but the gameplay video you will see will be of an older, slower run where his stats were a bit worse. There's no change in terms of his playstyle, obviously. The only difference is pretty much the stats. At the end of the run, you will see the screenshot of the faster clear. Again, I apologize. I want you to pay attention that he's actually missing some stats, namely critical damage and attack speed. Specifically, max attack speed would improve his performance by quite a bit. Also, I want to point out that his ISO headset is only stage 10, and also he has 0 OBs. He really impressed me. I was thinking of him more as a world boss character since he has such a high all defense down on his tier 3, but he's actually a beast even against Galactus. You want to start your rotation with spamming 1, 2 and 3, then into 5 immediately, cancel into 4 and let the 4 run. When your tier 3 skill is charged, simply replace it with 4. Couple of key points I want to touch on. His quote-unquote workhorse skill is his 5th skill. It gives him accumulation based on damage dealt. You want that to be active at all times, specifically right before doing the tier 3 skill or the 4th skill. His most damaging skills are the tier 3, the 5th skill and the 4th skill, so you definitely want those in the proc. On the other hand, his 1st skill, his 2nd skill and his 3rd skill deal almost no damage. So essentially those are, again as I call them, quote-unquote spam skills. You just want to constantly spam those during the proc or off proc, doesn't matter, so your tier 3 gets charged faster. So the run is closer to the end, but as I told you, this is an older run with a slower time. And right here you can actually see the screenshot of the faster run. It's a 1 minute 55 seconds clear. Amazing. Next up, at number 3, we have Magneto. He has 4 OB zone, almost all stats are maxed, missing a bit of critical damage and attack speed. You really want max attack speed on this guy. It makes a huge difference. Let me just point out that his ISO set is only stage 10. Do you guys remember how I said I love characters that deal damage constantly, chaining skill after skill non-stop? Well, he's one of them. Now, this is good against Galactus since he's slow and his attacks are very telegraphed, but that kind of gameplay could become very hazardous real quick in World Boss. There are multiple rotations you can use with him. I'm using the 2 cancel into 4, cancel into 3, cancel into 1, cancel into 5, delayed cancel, into 2, cancel into 1, cancel into 3, cancel into 4, into 2, cancel into 1, cancel into 5, cancel into tier 3. You want to start the tier 3 skill when there's around 2 seconds to the end of the proc, and you want to cancel it when he points his arms downwards and starts going down. Ideally, your proc will activate right when you cancel the tier 3. The important part of the rotation is that if possible, obviously you want to fit all the skills in the proc since they are all cancelable, but specifically you want to pay an extra attention to use the 5th skill during the proc. Also, let the 5th skill run for as long as possible. As I said, he's like a machine gun, chaining skill after skill non-stop. That's why attack speed is really important for him. And he clears it in 1 minute 42 seconds. Next up, at number 2, we have Luna Snow. Again, I want to point out that she has 8 Odin's blessings. She's totally maxed out, missing only around 1% attack speed and critical damage. From the uniform options, she's missing only 1, the second one. She's really strong against Galactus. Well, she's overall a strong character for any PvE content, to be honest. World Boss, ABX, Squad Battle, you name it, she can do it. Most of her skills are cancelable. You insta-cancel 4, you delayed cancel 5, and you delayed cancel her tier 3 skill when she kinda does that flip thingy with her hand. You want to start her tier 3 when there's around 1 second to the end of the proc or right after the end of the proc, depending on your attack speed. The rotation is 4 cancel 5, delayed cancel 2 1 3, and depending how things go, you may need to just spam 1 and 2 a couple of more times in between. One interesting aspect of her is her passive. There is a 60% chance for her 3rd skill to reset her 1st and 2nd skill. Well, her 3rd skill resets her 1st skill, and subsequently her 1st skill resets her 2nd skill, which obviously helps you charge your tier 3 faster. As you know, her tier 3 has accumulation based on damage dealt, which is huge. Her playstyle is a bit of a spam fest, to be honest. Just make sure the timing of the tier 3 is right, and then try to fit as many skills as possible in the proc. As you can see, she's just tearing him apart. And she clears it in 1 minute 18 seconds. And at the end, at number 1, when you reach the top of the hill, what do you see? The kingdom of Sharon Rogers, the absolute undisputed queen of GBR. She's not only the best character against Galactus, but she does it with only a CTP of energy. No rage needed whatsoever. Trust me, she's so strong. I will be actually doing her a disservice with this run. I have seen clears much faster than this. My Sharon is not completely maxed out. She has 0 OBs. Not only that, but all her Urus are only legendary. Also, her ISOED set is only stage 10 and I'm missing 2 uniform options. She can do much better. She's so easy to play and so strong. She goes through Galactus like a hot knife through butter. Her rotation is super easy. You just do 3 cancel into 5, delayed cancel into 4. When your tier 3 is ready, replace 4 with the tier 3 skill. The only thing that is slightly harder to do with her against Galactus is accumulating damage. Her accumulation is based on damage taken, so you want to get hit. You have to, in a sense, guess and anticipate what kind of attack Galactus will do. And sometimes, well, a lot of Galactus's attacks penetrate, so you can't really tank those. This is her only issue, but you can't even call that an issue because even without the accumulation, she would still get past him like a breeze. What an absolute beast. She does it in 1 minute and 2 seconds. As I told you guys, there are a lot faster runs out there, so I'm actually doing her a disservice with this one. Alright guys, some closing words. First, as I talked about it in the beginning, there are a couple of characters that probably would have been in the top 10, but sadly I don't have rage on them. My guess is Silver Surfer and Quicksilver would be in the top 10, pushing Cable out, but of course that is just a guess for now. Second, the rank 1, the rank 2, and maybe the rank 3 are pretty clear with a healthy margin between them, but the next 4, namely Starlord, Professor X, Black Widow, and Namor, have shown virtually the same performance. So in a sense, all of them are actually rank 4 because it is impossible to make a distinction between them. Lastly, if you don't agree with the placement of a certain character, if you think I haven't played a certain character properly, or if there's any other issue, write a comment and I will surely try to respond. Alright guys, thanks for watching. This one was a bit longer than usual, sorry about that. Don't forget to check the GBR Galactus chart in the description below for some additional information, and I'll see you again next time.